Nice.
Some nice tones there.
Okay, right. If you have been living under a rock since January the 2nd, 2017, I think it was, you will not know that the laws on the import and export and trade of rosewood, species starting with the Latin Dalbergia, there you go, and some other species have been elevated to Appendix 2 of the CITES Protected Species List. We'll do this quickly because it's quite boring, and actually you can read, there's some good stuff on the Andertons website about this.
Yes.
CITES is an international treaty, an agreement between nations and members who sign up to protect certain species. So whether that is stuff, you know, the poster boy, ivory, or whether it's the lesser spotted, actually the honey badger is on there.
Oh, so it's like
flora and fauna.
So anything to do with animals and planet stuff.
That's going
away. We
need
to protect this planet, you know?
Yeah.
We do need to do it.
Honey badgers, I don't know. I heard something about honey badgers just recently. They're not very nice, by all accounts. So anyway, yes, honey badgers is one of my favourite examples. Ivory, wood species, plants, you get the picture, you get the picture. CITES is there to protect those species, and there are various lists. Appendix 1 is the one that everyone talks about. That's the one that Brazilian rosewood went onto in the early 90s, meaning that Brazilian rosewood, that very specific type of rosewood, is extremely restricted in its trade and commercial use.
Yeah.
Other types of rosewood, and the ones you see on guitars are East Indian rosewood.
Yeah.
Very common.
Acoustic guitars.
Indonesian rosewood. And rosewoods from other parts of the place that aren't Brazilian rosewood. Other rosewoods you've been able to freely trade and put those on guitars for years and years and years.
Yes.
Given that it's on the fingerboards of a great deal of Fender guitars, a huge number of acoustic guitars, it makes up the backs and sides of a huge number of acoustic guitars, it makes up head plates, it makes up binding. Rosewood is used extensively in guitar manufacture, as you probably know. Yeah. However, January the 2nd this year, it went on to Appendix 2 of CITES.
Appendix 1?
2.
You said 1 first, so it's 2.
Yeah, so Appendix 1 is the one that Brazilian rosewood is on.
Oh,
that's like, don't touch
it's
this.
Like Class A drugs, Class B drugs.
Exactly.
Oh, so just for those of you who might draw that parallel.
Appendix 1 is a completely different thing. Appendix 2 is slightly less stringent. So rosewoods and a couple of other species went on to Appendix 2 of the CITES Protected Species List, which means that there are more stringent laws covering its export and trade. And briefly, I said I wouldn't go on about this, but seeing as we're there now, if you want to use, let's say you are Fender.
Yes, my name is Fender.
Hello! Let's say you're Fender. If you want to use rosewood on the fingerboards of your guitars, you have to have an export license from where it comes from in India, which is usually where it comes from. You need an import license for it to come into the States. That all needs to be done, and there are various other laws involving how much work is done on the rosewood at its point of manufacture to help local industries and stuff like that. You then have to use it in a very specific way. You have to keep track of it all the way through your system, and then when you come to export it, you need an export license, and whoever's going to import it needs an import license.
Man, I'm getting tired already.
Yeah, it's really boring, and all it is a load of admin.
Paperwork.
Yep. And what happened in January was CITES said, right, rosewood, on you go to Appendix 2.
Yeah.
And everyone went, oh my God, how am I going to get my guitars across the Atlantic or wherever into the country, and how am I going to sell them? And the agencies tasked with passing that paperwork, issuing it and rubber stamping it were vastly under-resourced. So for a long time, there were a load of guitars sat in docks because the infrastructure wasn't there to do it. Yeah. Sorry, long story short, while it's not impossible, it is now more of a pain in the arse than it used to be to use rosewood. Yeah. And a number of manufacturers have gone, do you know what? For the number of guitars we're importing and exporting, we think we need to make a change. Mm-hmm. One of which is Fender. And other companies have either stopped using rosewood on their entry and mid-level guitars.
Yeah, so they changed it to ebony, or they changed it to whatever else.
Simply because the restrictions on using this stuff are more stringent, costs a bit more money, but really it's about paperwork and pain in the arse.
So I think that's one of the reasons why Andertons cannot ship to the States now. They won't ship rosewood back to the States because it's just too...
It's too much hassle. Yeah. And presumably in time the infrastructure will be there for that to be
all
easier.
It is
but given that this is still relatively new, it's not there currently. And of course we should say, amid a backdrop of those species of rosewood being significantly under threat from overuse. The irony of that is that they're overused by industries
that have nothing to do with the music, with the MI industry. It's not guitar manufacturers, it's people who make furnitures.
Yeah. And all industrial uses, all kinds of uses. Yeah. I had a very interesting conversation with Bob Taylor about this. I've had lots of conversations with Martin Guitars. I've had lots of conversations with all kinds of people who buy wood for manufacturing guitars. Yeah. And the bottom line seems to be the wood trade isn't exactly squeaky clean and hasn't been for many years.
So now they're kind of trying to rein it all in and go, there's somebody over there making lots of money because he's selling behind them shit somewhere from his...
The guitar industry would love it to be squeaky clean because they are prepared to pay top dollar for the best stuff.
Yeah, and that's why you have to pay a little bit more for some guitars with some woods on it, because it's just more difficult to get and it's more difficult to work with. And now you are going to expect that if you want a custom shop Strat, you're going to have rosewood on the fingerboard. It's going to cost you a little bit more.
That's the truth. The likelihood is now that rosewood will become a premium feature on more expensive guitars. And if you want a solid rosewood acoustic guitar, start going out and buying them secondhand.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
And get ready to pay a little bit more money for it, because that's what will happen.
Yeah, because it costs money to somebody to... They probably have to, like companies like Fender, Martin, whatever, they have to hire another couple of people maybe to sort all this stuff out.
And if you want the real scaries, mahogany's going the same way, although isn't on the list yet.
So if you want a solid mahogany guitar, do it now.
Tell you what though, I had a breakfast meeting with Bob Taylor in about 2005, 4, something like that, where he told me this exact thing was going to happen. Yeah. 10, 12 years ahead of the game.
Yeah. But it's a little bit like people, like the Apple making iPhones. They know they've already... people in the tech industry, they're always 10 years ahead or something, 5, 10 years ahead. Well, they know what's going to happen.
Most of the guitar industry isn't, which is why on January the 2nd, 2017, they all
everybody went, what?
Pooed their pants and decided what was going to happen next.
Anyway, so here is
what Fender did next.
What have we then? What is happening? So we've got 2 guitars here, Mexican Strats. One is with Pau Ferro fingerboard. Or Ferrero Rocher, as I like to call it.
Pau Ferro Rocher.
Pau Ferro Rocher. And the other one is Rosewood.
Yeah, Fender's taken the decision on all of its Ensenada built guitars to spec Pau Ferro in place of Rosewood. Pau Ferro.
What I was going to say is, guess which one it is. Can you see which one it is? Are we holding them up next to each other? If you get 2 minutes to go, which one do you think it is?
They are classic series 60s Stratocasters.
Made in Mexico, completely the same.
Placid blue.
Yes, beautiful colours, one of my favourite Strat colours. So there we are. So which one did you guess? I don't know which one you guessed.
Let's have a listen.
Let's have a listen.
Come on then.
Okay, come on then. Clean tones. I'm going to play the same thing. Some kind of weird, funky chords.
So funny.
Let me just start on the front pickup and just go. Okay, so first time around, I thought I could hear a difference. Now I'm coming back to this, and now I can hardly hear any difference.
I think I've made the conclusion that I'd made before we made this video. Stick some gain on, go on.
Okay, light speed and looking glass to boost it up a little bit. Man! I prefer this one. This sounds a bit better to me. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just a guitar.
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe if we took two of the same guitars.
The only way that we could do this test, which we're not going to do because it would make the guitars unsaleable, is to swap the necks around. I think my opinion on this was
this one is the Pau Ferro, right?
Yeah.
Just to make sure that you know which one is which.
Yeah.
And you can see the grains, it's a little bit lighter.
That guitar sounds brighter and punchier.
It sounds better.
Is it down to the fingerboard?
Is it down to the pickup selection, erection selection? Is it down to the wood in here?
I was checking the relative pickup positions. They're the same. They look the same. The guitars feel remarkably similar, very similar weight.
Yeah. I mean, even colour's the same.
Yeah.
What's the serial number on yours? 708, I've got. 864021. Okay, so they could be made like a month apart as well.
And what have you got? 864? I know.
700 in the end.
Yeah, but all the numbers before are different.
Okay, 168. Well, this is because this is a newer one, because this is what it's going to come with now. This is what it was before. These are two brand new guitars. We've taken out of the box. It's been in stock with the Rosewood. They cost the same amount of money. You know, if you prefer that, then you go on website. You go. It says RV for Rosewood.
But these won't be available for much longer.
No, these will go. So if you are an aficionado and you like to go, I want proper Rosewood, fine. I would just like to say that a guy that played guitar once, and his name started with Stevie, and then Ray, and then something else with V in the end. His guitar is Pau Ferro.
His signature Strat, Stevie, the SRV signature Strat has a Pau Ferro fingerboard, so it's not exactly untested. I'm going to keep a close eye on this as the months go on, because to me that guitar sounds slightly brighter, more present.
Yeah.
Slightly really more preferable to my ears, and I don't know if that is that guitar or whether it's anything to do with the fingerboard. So let's make that observation today in this room.
And then what we'll do is, here's an idea, we'll revisit the Telecasters in a month's time.
In another video, and have a look.
And we'll do Telecasters and see if it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have any Telecasters like Rosewood at the moment. That's why we didn't feature them in the video. We don't have them in stock. So I think that might be a good idea to go, what happened? Let's get another two guitars in if we can before they go out of stock. Because these are good guitars and the price on these are not very high. I think they're about $6.95 or something. I'm not quite sure, but look at the links below. But they're really well priced for what they are. Classic Players are amazing guitars.
That's not a classic player.
Sorry, classic.
That's a classic series 60s Stratocaster.
Yes, that's what I mean. Sorry,
okay, all right. Before we play some more, what do you need to know about Pau Ferro? Its Latin name is, get this, libidibia. Libidibia. It's like
libidibia.
It's that fill at the end of the song. Libidibia.
Oh, is that one?
Yeah, Libidibia ferrea, we guess. It's also known as Brazilian ironwood. It's also known as Bolivian rosewood. It's also known as Santos rosewood, although it is not a rosewood. It's not a Dalbergia. It's Libidibia ferrea. Some other interesting facts. Its tree grows to 30 meters tall.
I know. This is and 1.5 meters wide. So a guitar is about 1 meter wide, right?
Yeah. Which is roughly the same as an East Indian rosewood tree. And do you know, Pete, it has a volumetric shrinkage of 9.9%.
I have the same problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas East Indian rosewood has a volumetric shrinkage of 8.5%.
So what does that do to the...
a Yanker hardness of 8,710 newtons. Pau Ferro.
Yeah.
While East Indian rosewood has a
hardness,
Yanker hardness of 10,870. Its weight is 54 pounds per meter cubed.
Okay.
Per cubic meter.
Yeah.
Whereas East Indian rosewood is 52 pounds per cubic meter.
So what does all that do? Is it harder or softer, or is it?
Who knows? Who knows what any of those things mean?
Again, I'm going to mention it again. I get asked not a lot, but regularly. What pickups have you got in your guitar? And I go, the ones that was in it, because that was the one they sound good with. If that comes with this Rosewood fingerboard, I mean, and it sounds great, and I think it feels good, and breathe. No, but you know what I mean? It's like, I think it's you know, it's courses for horses, or horses for courses, or water for undergoosings.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go into a shop, you pick the guitar down, if it's this or it's that, and you go, wow, this is an amazing guitar, then you just buy the guitar.
Yeah. I think the only objection to Pau Ferro I've ever heard is that it can look a bit streaky and a bit orange.
See, I'm Danish. I like bacon.
Yeah.
I'm going to call this bacon wood from now on.
You can make your own mind up. Okay, so East Indian rosewood and bacon wood now spec'd on 2017 and forward Fender Ensenada guitars, and a lot of other guitars from other manufacturers as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of across the board, and there's some people, as you said in the beginning, are not using any rosewood at all anymore, just to make it much simpler and making all the shipping and all that stuff. But I like this. You should have a lot of go on this, please. Just play that again. See if you sound less like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Sounds better when you play it. Could it be the strings?
No, because they're fresh out of the box.
They've
got the same strings. Both of these guitars are absolutely fresh out of the packaging materials. They were in the box.
Yeah.
They haven't even been set up or anything.
Nothing. I've got a question for you.
On which, kudos to Fender actually, because they both play nicely.
Because they play nicely. What is the biggest question to make here? What do you think the biggest cause of sound change in a guitar is? If you got two of the same guitars, what could be?
Oh, I don't even want to get into it because it will anger all the people out there.
Because I'm thinking, is it the fretboard? Is it the neck material, the wood that was whatever? That looks pretty cool. That neck actually, look. That's pretty cool. Is it the?
Show me the end of that. Show me the end of that headstock, can you?
That's the.
Okay, that one is absolutely dead on flat sawn, that neck, and this one is pretty flat, maybe a little bit cross cut. So i.e. not quarter sawn. Neither of these have quarter sawn necks.
So my Telecaster, my purple Telecaster is quarter-tone neck.
Yeah.
But does all of these things make a difference?
They all make a massive difference.
So there you go. Right?
In my opinion. Yeah. And it's the way the whole instrument comes together.
The lightness, all of that stuff, because you have to remember, a Stratocaster is a piece of wood that's bolted onto a piece of wood with 4 screws, right? And it sits on here on a block that hardly does anything, right? That hardly touches apart from 2 screws in here. I mean, technically,
there are a lot of people out there who say that the woods of guitars makes absolutely no difference whatsoever.
Yeah. And fine, that's absolutely fine.
I fundamentally disagree, but
anyway. Yes, and I kind of do as well.
Yeah.
But again, you go back to that thing where you pick up a guitar and you play it and it sounds great and you think this is the guitar for me.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Well, the fact is, you can pick up 2 Strats that have come off the production line on the same day, and they will feel and sound different to you. Except these do have a spec difference.
They do have a spec difference, but is it enough to go, oh no, the world is gonna implode?
If I was buying one of these guitars today, I would buy the Pau Ferro one.
Oh, same with me. And that's not because we're saying that this is going to come out and you know that I'll get that one.
But I would also temper that by saying tomorrow we could get 2 other guitars, and we might prefer the Rosewood one, because that's, for anyone who doesn't know, Strats are my favourite guitars. I've been playing them all my playing life, and I have played probably thousands of everything from Squiers through Japanese guitars when they were more common, through the Mexican stuff, through all ranges of American stuff, through any number of lovely vintage Strats. In fact, I have a nice vintage Strat at the moment in my possession. So I'm a Strat freak. I love Strats. And it never ever ceases to amaze me how different they sound. So there we go.
What do you think? Can you tell the difference?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can tell the difference visually, but I think if you put the 2 guitars in my hand,
should we do? If you do the blindfold test, you will never be able to tell because it doesn't feel any different.
No, it doesn't feel any different.
All.
I probably would be able to tell now because they sound so different. But
would you though?
We're going to prove it, aren't we? Come on, then. Let's finish this off with a blind test.
Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah. Right then.
Pete has given me the. I think we know who this belongs to.
Yeah.
Custom designed.
Yeah, we didn't have one that says Mick on it, so maybe we can get one that says Mick on it. One that says Mick and one that says Danish. Okay, so now I'm gonna pick a guitar and I'm gonna give it to Mick, and this is the first one. I'm gonna just plug him in, okay? Sorry. There you go. Second one. Okay. Do you want to go?
That felt a lot like the first one to me. Okay, well that's the Rosewood one, and that one is the Pau Ferro one.
No, that's wrong. That's the Rosewood one, and that's the Pau Ferro one.
Unbelievable.
And I know last time I sort of did that, but you saw this in this one. I did not do anything. So
there you go. Literally can't tell the difference.
And I know.
How did that happen? Because this one sounded so much brighter before.
When I'm sitting here, they sound more or less the same. Honestly.
I think I'd made my mind up too early. Well, there you go. Proof positive.
All right. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go and have a Ferrero Rocher with Mia Ferro. Are you up for that?
Mia Ferrero Rocher. Mia Ferrero Rocher.
Mia Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah.
And Rose would, if she could, but she can't anymore because she's got a second appendix taken out.
Yeah.
I'm weird, but that's fine. You see you next time on Andertons TV. I'm Pete.
I'm Mick.
sounded good, man.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Andertons Guitar YouTube channel. If you're a drummer or a keyboard player or interested in music technology, you might find one of our other channels interesting, and I'll put details of those in the description below. If you want to find out more about the products we've just featured, please click here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like this, please click here. If you want to watch another video on our guitar channel, click down here. And to subscribe to our guitar channel, click here. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.